it's Rachel here doing a bit of car unwitnessing. I've parked somewhere different today. It's actually State Highway 2, just up from the Kingdom Hall, because the Kingdom Hall is on a corner of State Highway 2. I'll just swing the camera around so you can see where the Kingdom Hall is and see the traffic. The Kingdom Hall is just over there. I don't know if you can see the sign. And cars in the car park. See, it's highway. And there is my car over there. I hope you can see it okay. This is quite a good spot. It's far enough away from the intersection that it shouldn't be distracting and cause accidents. I would hate for that to happen. But yeah, Upper Hutt, there you go. Yep, that's where I live. Actually, I've never actually looked at this information board. What's it got? Oh, I didn't know we had so many attractions. Cool. Anyway, I'll head back into the car. Actually, I'll give you a close-up of the car so you can see. It says basically love JW, hate shunning, and family breakup. Okay. I hope my car's not too hot. It's a bit noisier than where I normally go, so hopefully you can hear me talking. Also the sun is sorry, it's a bumpy ride. Okay, where should I put this? Yeah, it's a little bit glary, isn't it? Oh, it's not so bad when the sun goes. Anyway, I will shut my door. It's not going to cut out much noise though, because I've got the windows open. Yes, I wanted my message today to be a little softer, because Jehovah's Witnesses need to understand that I, along with many other ex-witnesses and ex-witness YouTubers, we don't hate Jehovah's Witnesses. It's the practices that destroy families and damage lives. Those are the things that we hate. I have got nothing against people having their own religious beliefs, but when it comes to causing harm, I think you have to draw the line somewhere. And there's tremendous harm done to the family, and I've talked about that before in other videos, as have others. And you see families breaking up over the most insignificant things. I mean, really, do you think a family should break up because one of the members smokes? I mean, is that really such a terrible, terrible sin that it should result in a person, the smoker, being estranged from his witness family forever, unless he stops and goes back? No, it's absurd, really, isn't it? And I know a lot of witnesses, even though the governing body has been printing in the watchtowers quite a lot in recent years, stressing the need to avoid contact with disfellowshipped family members, and they're really coming down quite hard on it. So hopefully this makes a few more witnesses wake up and think about what kind of organisation it is that they're part of, and why these men at the top make such terrible demands of people, you know, inhumane demands. Anyway, I was going to talk about something a bit different today too. Recently I was looking into the restored Church of God. Now, if anyone knows anything about that, It's one of the, well actually it claims to be the restoration of the worldwide Church of God. So the worldwide Church of God, I think it started in the 1900s, so last century. And the doctrines are very, very similar to Jehovah's Witness doctrines, and I believe they may have common roots, with the Millerites. Very, very similar, although the Worldwide Church of God believed in the deity of Christ. But they believe the same thing about hell, that it's the place of non-existence. They believe in a restored paradise earth, in a government made up of a select chosen few that will rule with Jesus in heaven, I believe. So they're very, very similar teachings. And well, the Worldwide Church of God, when its founder died, I think it was 1980 something, the person who took over as the apostle, because they have one man who leads the organisation and he's considered an apostle. So the new apostle deviated significantly from what his predecessor taught. I think formerly the teachings were very pharisaical, very legalistic, very much like Jehovah's Witnesses, very much based in the Old Testament. But the new apostle had different ideas, and so lots of changes were made, and a lot of people weren't happy with that, so there was a lot of splintering. I've also looked up the Living Church of God is another split off, which actually has a program on TV here in New Zealand on a Sunday morning. But there are numerous other split off groups too. But this latest one I was looking at claims to be a restoration of what the original apostle taught. Now I'm trying to remember what his name was. Herbert Armstrong, I think. Yeah. But it was so interesting watching the videos, because most of these split-offs have a website, quite a polished website, and they produce books and videos and, subscriptions to magazines, just like the Watchtower does. So they're kind of big into their tele-evangelism now. And I watched some videos, I think it was called The True Church, and it had 3 or 4 parts to it. And it was just so interesting watching it, because he made exactly the same claims that the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses make. The governing body, claim to be the faithful and discreet slave, a composite slave that Jesus selected to be his channel, that he would direct affairs to his followers on earth through. And of course this apostle of this restored Church of God, he makes exactly the same claim, that he is the channel, and that if you're not in touch with that channel, if you're not receiving instruction through that channel, then you can't have a right relationship with God. And they make the same threats too, like this guy, what was his name, David, I can't remember his name, but you can look it up. If you just Google Restored Church of God, you'll find a lot of information on it. And anyway, he makes threats too, that if you go against anything that he teaches, then you will be disfellowshipped. And he went on to say how disfellowshipping is a loving provision, just like what the governing bodies say. So the members of this church have the same threats that prevent them from investigating and leaving as Jehovah's Witnesses do. They're threatened with being disfellowshipped, cut off from their families who are witnesses and their friends, if they question the governing body. And they use the same kind of terms, like the truth. They talk, Jehovah's Witnesses believe they're in the truth, and followers in this Restored Church of God and the other splinter groups, they all believe that they are in the truth. Only they have the truth. They've got it right. Everyone else has got it wrong. So the attitudes, the outlooks of those people in those churches are the same as witnesses, and none of them are really free to do a thorough investigation of their beliefs without the threat of being excommunicated, and all the negative things, the negative labelling that comes along with that. So, when Jehovah's Witnesses criticise people that they meet in the ministry, in the door-to-door work, not that I see much of that going on these days, and they criticise those church members for not investigating their beliefs, supposed beliefs, the teachings of their church. Well, maybe it's because that, for the same reason that Jehovah's Witnesses won't investigate theirs, that they're told that anyone who criticises the apostle, anyone who criticises the governing body, are of Satan, and that they've got doubts that are inspired by Satan. It's because they're not doing something right, they're not partaking of all the spiritual provisions, and that's why they're spiritually weak. They're all the same kind of deterrence against investigating. So it's just one big mess, isn't it? People born into, like, the Church of the Latter-day Saints, the Mormons, same thing there, perhaps less severe with the shunning, but still, you can be excommunicated or disfellowshipped. I think they use that word as well. So, yeah, all these churches teaching that they have the truth exclusively. They are the channel from God to men. I wish Jehovah's Witnesses would spend more time listening to other people and looking into this, and then they would see that they're just another one of the cults, one of the, well, they don't like that word, and just another sect of Christendom doing the same thing. So anyway, if you get a chance, do have a look at some of the websites that these churches have, just for comparison. And also I noticed that on Chris Shelton, his YouTube channel, he's an ex-Scientologist activist. He's really, really good to listen to, and he just interviewed on his latest video someone who had left, who grew up in the Worldwide Church of God, and with her family, and then her father left because apparently he was hearing voices from angels or something, and he kind of started up his own thing, and she kind of followed in his footsteps reluctantly, sort of, but she ended up leaving that too, and she gave a very good interview with Chris Shelton, so that's worth having a listen to as well if you get a chance. Anyway, I'll leave it for there now. See ya. And by the way, tomorrow is the start of 2018. I hope you have a great day. So happy New Year's to you. Bye.